Hello everybody, this is actually my first YouTube video, but I wanted to do a video on the Whelen Smart Logic flasher to show how unbelievable this thing is, especially for the money. It gives you a lot of the functionality of any of the higher end Whelen stuff like Sapphire or Command, anything Command related. I laid a dollar bill there for size comparison, and beside it is a ULF 44 flasher, which is a great flasher in its own little way. But it only has two input controls, so there's really only two different selections you can make with the ULF 44, whereas the Smart Logic flasher, it almost has unlimited options. I'm going to get into it. You program it using Whelen's, sorry for the video here, I'm using my phone camera. Anyway, you get into the Whelen programming, program on your laptop, and the number of options you can build into this are amazing. It's the same program you would use to program something higher end like a light bar or anything we can, but this is just a Smart Logic. I'm going to try to make this video as short as possible and show you as many of the good things as I can. Anyway, you go into it and you have two options. You can create what they call ACM inputs, which are basically hardwired switches, and it gives you an option of 8 inputs. 1 through 5 control these 5, and 6 through 8 are 3 more, but one of these 5 has to be switched on for any of these 3 to work. Anyway, there's also a photo cell sensor which wires in here to basically automatically dim your lights at night. I don't have that option. If I want to dim them, I can do that on my own. Anyway, so for now I have 8, well, more than 8 actually. Let's go back. The ACM inputs, which like I said are basically hardwired switch inputs, they will give you these 8 options. But if you go to events, you can you can program as many different things to happen as you have memory for. And I've used 77% of the available memory for that particular flasher. It's got a built-in memory. I don't know what size it is, but again, I have 13 different things programmed for this. Well, 14 at the moment, but I'm going to show you how to do this. If you program anything to happen and you decide later you don't want that, just go back to it and hit X and it will delete it right out. But for the events, it's kind of neat. You can still use any type of input switch, momentary button, hard switch, push button, whatever you have. And I'm using just regular rocker switches to make this affordable. But for this $200 flasher, you literally have unlimited options. But just to give you an idea of some of the functions I have programmed in here, I got some penny lights that I wired up to it just for testing, to not have to get in and out of my car and look at the lights I have set up for it every time I want to change something. Anyway, like the first switch is set up as a cruise light. It's dimmer than the normal brightness. Here's just an alternating amber 60-second flash. Here we have kind of a zigzag. Here is all 6 lights and an alternating signal alert. It's actually signal alert 60 flash rate instead of 75, which is the normal. But I feel like the 60 gives you just a little bit more time on target. I think the 75 flashes just a hair too fast personally for my liking. But anyway, then I have a rear flood. And like I said before, to use triggers 6, 7, and 8, you have to have one of the previous ones on. So, like there's the amber 60s. I'm gonna add one. You still have the amber 60s, but you have a random red flash a little bit slower of a rate. Then I go to, say, the zigzag. Then I hit this other trigger, and boom. It goes to an in and out. And I slowed those down to 60 where the zigzag is 75, but let go of the second trigger and it goes back to the first flashback. Kind of neat. When you build a virtual input, and I'm sorry, not a virtual, just an event input, it'll show you which option you have. So for the cruise lights, when input 1 is turned on, that's what happens. However, if I want, say, steady flash, that's input 1 and input 8 at the same time. So let's check that out. So there's 1, and here comes 8. For a normal single switch turned on, 8 turns everything to low power. But for this event, when 1 and 8 are both turned on, you have basically cruise lights, but in the steady flash pattern. And I know that's pretty common nowadays for emergency services when they're just sitting on the side of the road, not necessarily at a crash or something, maybe just out talking to somebody so they don't get hit when they step off the sidewalk or something along those lines. Anyway, a bunch of different functions. And there it goes back to cruise where it's set on low power. But for steady flash, I have it set to high power. But back to programming these things. When you get to each event, it'll show you the output that you have selected. You can also collapse this window so you can see the whole output array. It'll show you which different flash pattern option you have, and for each line it'll highlight the one you have selected. So for steady flash, all 4 of these are set on steady flash. Set on the same pattern. If you want to see what the pattern looks like without having lights hooked up to it, say the flasher is already mounted in your car, you can look on the screen and it will show you, when you click play, it'll show you what that's going to look like. Got another one, say the warning trios. Flash this. There you go. Another one I had was the amber 60 slow reds. Let's do this. That shows you the rate that they're going to flash for each individual light. And again, if you click on the line of each light, it'll show you which flash pattern you have selected. So for the ambers, I have single flash 60, and then to get those reds to pause between bouncing around, I picked the duo color. Since I only selected one color, it pauses for the other, and that's what causes the delay in there. Anyway, 10 million different options for this. But as you can see, the number of options you have are huge. I haven't counted them, but there's a ton in there. And you can literally build as many different event options as you want until the memory gets full. when I deleted that one out a minute ago, it freed up 4% of the memory. But for any of the ones you have in there, if you want to edit anything, basically just select it. I'm going to minimize that again so I have more view. But say you want to turn everything on this steady flash down to half power. Hold in the control button and select each one, and it'll highlight the ones you've chosen, and then say you want to go to a low power. Boom, it'll select low powers. It'll reduce by 10% each click. Then you hit apply to all, and even though it doesn't show it on there, it is set. And then all you have to do is go up and click save. But this thing is really unbelievable. The number of options you have is just, it's mesmerizing for the money. You're literally getting almost every option other than we can capability to like supplement your factory brake lights or turn signals or whatever. You're getting almost exactly the same capability as the really expensive stuff for $200. Anyway, I just wanted to give a quick video about the capabilities of this thing. It's definitely the nicest flasher I have ever dealt with for that kind of money. And when you look at the ULF44 only having 2 different trigger options, it costs like $100. So you could buy 2 of those and only have 4 input options for the same money you'd have in one of these, which basically has unlimited options. I'm going to try to do some more videos for both of these flashers, but if anybody has any questions, shoot them into the comments and maybe we can both help each other learn. Like I said before, this is my first YouTube video, but being the light nerd that I am, I thought this might be helpful to someone else out there who wants to add some lights to their vehicle on their own without having to pay somebody else a premium to do it for you. It's really not that hard if you have some basic wiring knowledge. And again, the functions that come with this particular flasher, the Smart Logic flasher, are probably more than 95% as capable as the ones you would pay over $1,000 just for the flasher brain. And once you start messing with the computer program a little bit, it doesn't take long to learn how to use it. You can set priorities to where, say, input 7 turns this one on, but you'd rather have input 4 be prioritized over that. You can set the priorities to do that. You can put them in whatever order you want. Anyway, it's really neat, and it beats the heck out of trying to piggyback multiple flashers to do more than 1 or 2 things. Again, the options with this are pretty much limitless. Anyway, let me know if you guys have any questions or comments. I'm not trying to make money on YouTube or anything. I'm not trying to start a big channel. I don't care if you subscribe or like or whatever else. I'm just trying to give someone else some knowledge of something that I couldn't find when they may be working on the same thing that I was trying to work on. Anyway, take care and thanks for watching.